Hello YouTube, this is ChardarYuGiOh here with my updated Card Trooper Agent deck. And I think that this version's either a lot better or I've gotten a lot better at playing it. It was a lot more consistent when I was testing it last weekend with Not Gonna Lie 48. And it's been doing really well in Dueling Network, and I was finally comfortable enough to show it off here. I'm still working on it, so if you have any advice, I would really appreciate that. There's a couple of cards in here that I'm not sure if I like yet, but I'll go ahead and show you the deck, and you can tell me what you think. Let me know from there. So I have 2 Agent Mystery Earth, 3 Venus, 3 Mystical Shine Ball. I'm looking for 2 more Super Shine Balls if anyone has those. Little plug. Master Hyperion, 2 Card Troopers, Triple Ryo. I still like Triple Ryo because I think it's just one of the best cards in the meta. It's a good top deck. It stands on its own if you draw it, and it has combos with Trooper and Call the Haunted. And I think it's a very good card. I run 2 Archlord Christias in this deck, just because you can mill them or use their effect, neither of which are very hard to do. This deck is very flexible for the graveyard. Use 3 Herald of Orange Lights. Any fairy card that's dead in my hand, I can turn it into a negation, and it destroys cards on my opponent's field. I really like this card. 1 Honest. 2 Maxi. I'm liking the Maxi in the main deck over Veilers because I already have Herald of Orange Lights to negate effects. So if they're doing something that doesn't really have something I can stop with an effect, but I can still plus off their special summons, or stop their special summons entirely. One player at my locals absolutely refuses to let their opponent plus off of a Maxi, so they just stop their turn, and a lot of players are like that. I don't really understand it, but it's a very good card. I'm main decking 1 Spirit Reaper. I've seen some agent decks doing this, and I really liked it. Just because Spirit Reaper, I think, is a very good card this meta. It can be hand control or a wall, and I think that's very useful. It's almost never dead. A lot of people say it clogs your hand, and how? It can either be a wall. It's either a wall if you're losing, or hand control if you're winning. There's no downside to running this card. 1 Tragodia. I'd like to fit in 2, and I'm going to tell you what I'm considering taking out for it, but I don't know. 1 Tragodia has been sufficient so far. I just like running 2. 1 Gores. Mind Control. I've seen most agent decks running Mind Control, so I'm using it, and I don't get it. What good does this card do? This deck can pretty much do 3 level 3 rank 3s, Ixies, or some basic synchros, but synchros are not really an ideal play in this deck. So I really don't get what this card does in this deck. It can be beneficial. It can take care of some monsters if you absolutely have to synchro, but I would just rather have another Tragodia over this thing, or really much of anything else. 2 MSTs. I'm only running 2 for space issues. I like running 3, but it hasn't been necessary. Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Triple Call of the Haunted, and 2 Torrential Tributes. Torrential Tribute is still my favorite stun trap, just because it works it can work on single summons and spamming. Most stun traps can only do both. I think this one's a lot more versatile and a lot more damaging if your opponent overextends. I think that this card, you have to play it well, but this card I think has more potential than any of the other stun traps. And I run 2 Solemn Warnings because there are some stuff that Torrential Tribute can't hit, like Logia and stuff. And sometimes you just need to decisively stop something. The life point cost, I hear a lot of people complain about the life point cost, especially in agents, but it's never really bothered me. You just have to be smart with it. And I'm not saying that I'm the greatest player in the world, and that I know every time that the 2,000 life points really is not that big of a deal, especially because I'm not running Solemn Judgment. Extra deck, Gachi Gantetsu, the main extra deck card you go into in this deck over with Venus, and it just turns all your things into beaters, and it gives you a somewhat wall. Dark Mist, let's use battle to get rid of anything that can be destroyed by battle, can be destroyed by Dark Mist. I think that's a really useful card to have. Lavier, Toolbox, the Banished Zone. I've used this almost never, but I'm really glad that I have it when I do. Number 17, Leviathan Dragon, just staple beater. Tempo, I use Tempo against Ixies monsters that are really annoying, and I just want to get rid of their materials, like something like Zen Maze, and if you summon this on a Logia, the Logia has to negate it, or the Logia will be destroyed. Wind Up Zen Mains, that one's really stable. I use this one quite a bit, just for a wall, and help control my opponent's field. Acid Golem, OTK card, I don't use it hardly at all. Synchros, Armory Arm, Catastor, Gaia Knight. I have seriously been considering using Iron Chain Dragon. I might do another video just on Iron Chain Dragon later, but I use Gaia Knight for now. Schwarzer Rosendrock, which is my German Black Rose. Thought Ruler Archfiend. I really like this card just because it can't be targeted and the life point bonus. Stardust Dragon, Scrap Dragon, and Mistworm. Stickers. Side deck, 2 Forbidden Lance against decks that use Torrential or Bottomless. This thing can save your Hyperion. I side this in a lot. System Down, gadgets are really big around here, and I hate the deck. System Down just stops all that. 2 Soul Drain. I don't really have enough of the I don't really have a bad enough meta that I need to side deck 3 of these. 2 Royal Decree. I have a very low trap count, so I'm going to something like Chainburn or Hero Beat or anything else that runs a huge trap lineup. Decree is just very nice to have. 2 Gozen, great control card since almost all of my monsters are lights. Nobleman of Crossout. People have been citing this for Gear Gaia. I cite it more for Gravekeepers than anything because Necro Valley absolutely destroys this deck, and Nobleman can just stop them in their tracks. Consecrated Light works on Inzectors and also the aforementioned Gravekeepers. And I love Call the Haunted and Consecrated Light together. That's very helpful. And the 3rd Mystical Space Typhoon, just in case I have to. So that is my agent deck. It's been very consistent for me lately, and there's still some things I'd like to change. So if anyone's needing advice, put it down there, please. Thumb up the deck if you like it, thumb it down if you don't, and subscribe, and peace out, YouTube.